Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3637. Today's date is October 11, 2025. It's been almost like a morning at 7:23 a.m. Right, let's just jump into the question. Okay, let's go. Okay, question is, what if teleportation eliminate the distance travel? Okay, that is a really good question, by the way. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this question to myself? This is what if question. Why am I asking? What if question is always really interested way to give the answer. It kind of like force you to think about that reality, and it just, I don't know. I love to think about stuff. I love to create that reality. While creating that reality, it depends on how much information that I have. Based on that information, I create that reality. So, disclaimer, the information that I'm trying to tell you is not exactly right or is not exactly wrong either. It's a kind of like a raw or unfiltered. I am trying to explain what I know regarding about those particular stuff. So, be advised that it's not exactly right information. Okay, if you need for this information, go for Google or any kind of like a some internet. You will get the right information. This is where just I just wanted to express my thoughts regarding about stuff. All right. Now, question is that, okay, what if teleportation exists? Then what would be the travel? Yeah, like basically, what if we could teleport somewhere? What is exactly teleport? A teleport means like that, okay, you are going from one place to another place without travel. Consider as a kind of like a something a door. Like, have you seen a cartoon named Doraemon? In, like, if you don't really seen it, Doraemon, like basically in the Doraemon cartoon, uh, he has a Doraemon as a kind of like a some particular a robot from future. He has so many gadgets. He has one specific gadget named Anyway Door. Means like that you could imagine where you want to go and open the door and you will reach there. That is called Anywhere Door. That is exactly called teleportation too. A teleportation that you can move one place to another place, um, without any travel or things like that. Like if you think that key you need to go Paris, you just open up the door and you went to the Paris. If you need to go to the Tokyo, you just open up the door and you went to the Tokyo. So this is called kind of like a teleportation. So teleportation is a door. No, it's not a door. Like a door is a kind of like a some hypothetical term. A teleportation is something that ki, kind of like a some transfer of mass from one place to another place. Probably the in scientific point of perspective, I don't know, and the most of the kind of like some scientists didn't really prove that teleportation can be possible because we cannot kind of like simply produce or create or send masses to one to another. What is exactly masses? um, we are people, we are human, right? Yeah, we have some sort of weight, but that weight is varies according to the where we live. If I am at earth, my weight is a 75 gram. I am at moon, my weight would be like a 45 gram. If I'm Jupiter, my weight would be 200 kilogram, sorry, not gram, 200 kilogram. In a moon, my weight would be 45. Like basically what I'm trying to tell you, weight would be varied according to the gravity, but mass not. Okay, whatever you mass accumulated inside your body, it should supposed to be there with you even if you change any planet at all. Teleportation is a kind of like assembly is this thing that key, it it kind of like a simply eliminate the mass of your body and recreate the same mass at somewhere else. That is called teleportation. But probably if we are trying to do this thing, when then we kind of like a break lot of kind of like laws and things like that. Like if we just kind of like consider that ki if we kind of like simply just um, teleport, like how is that actually possible? Like basically is this thing that ki our body is actually made of what of carbons, molecules, and things, and that I don't know how this thing happened. In kind of like assembly, all the possible way, I didn't really like a think that would be possible. Okay, yeah. Or if that would be possible, but the kind of like assembly teleportation would be so dangerous that we might arrive at some certain places in couple of pieces. So it's a very like a very kind of like assembly just kind of like somebody I don't know danger. I don't know. Yeah, probably. Then where is this teleportation word came from? It's actually from movies specifically. Yeah, like we already have a kind of like a something movies that could kind of like a something say that ki with this teleportation you can kind of like a something teleport anywhere and things like that. It's kind of like something magic and stuff like that. But in scientific point of perspective, it's very hard to do that stuff. It's very hard to um, by the way, if I want to tell you something, there is a two thing are actually exist in our nature that could help us teleportation, but it's not the way that you think it is. It's a very different. Okay, what are those two things? First thing is very obvious is a black hole. Because black hole is immense gravity, so we actually sucked inside of it, and we might gonna arrive at some certain place that we don't know. Probably we don't know, we actually suck into the black hole, then probably we would die, or we would, I don't know, probably die mostly because the gravity is so intense. But the black hole is a kind of like a things that act as a kind of like a sort of teleportation, and the wormhole are also act as a kind of like a something like teleportation, that kind of like a somebody it can go from one part of universe to the another part of universe as a wormhole. Okay, yeah. uh, these are wormhole are a kind of like a simply a small packets in the multiple universe, and probably is this thing. um I'm not really sure that I should supposed to be called wormhole as a teleportation device or what. I'm not really sure about that, but probably it work like that way. But still, the question is not about to think about how the teleportation happened. You have to think about what if teleportation happened, then what would be the reality? If we could access, if we could invented this technology, and if we could kind of like assembly understand and utilize, and basically it kind of like assembly for nominal purpose, like if we're utilizing this teleportation for normal purpose, then probably what would be the reality? The reality would be so much different than us. We might not need any kind of like a something like cars or bikes or any kind of like a something vehicle or any kind of like a things. No, like basically it's this thing. You might kind of like a simply you might kind of like a live in one part of the world, work in different part of the world, and probably you just don't really think that ki you just have to be kind of like a somebody be. No, it's not. It's just like that ki at one like a basically imagine as a kind of like a something a apartment where in one apartment you are kind of like a living, and you went to the kitchen and you arrive at your office and you do your work. If you wanted to spend the vacation, then probably you went to another room and probably you arrive at Hong Kong, Disneyland, or things like that. So probably yeah, this would be kind of like a simply reality. The entire transportation system will gonna collapse. Okay, yeah, we might not have a train, bikes, cars, trucks, like a aeroplane, nothing really at all. We might not have a traffic. Also, we might not have any kind of like roads. Okay, yeah, because there is no roads to kind of like why do we supposed to kind of like go somewhere else? It just, yeah. Um, then the massive shift, basically it's just a massive shift in kind of like a something job creation, because the most of the kind of like a something jobs is actually created by manufacturing sector, and most of the kind of like a manufacturing sector are kind of like a base on transportation. Okay, like car manufacturing sector, trucks, aeroplanes, and things like that. If we have teleportation system, then probably this kind of like a transportation entire thing will gonna collapse. People lost their jobs and stuff like that. Okay, but that is not kind of like a something entirely true. We might need a kind of like a something transportation system like a cars and bikes probably at somewhere, not for kind of like a simply transportation, but for kind of like a thrill and things like that. Like basically if you wanted to night out, then probably we take out our bike or car or whatever it is. So yeah. um Another thing is that probably the house prices would be dropped down. Okay, yeah. In New York specifically, most of people are actually live in New York because of that. It kind of like a close to the office and things like that. Not only the New York, but every major city is kind of like a facing the same similar issue, that because the cities have kind of like a so big that most of the companies are available, so most of the employees are wanted to stay in that particular city, and that's because cities became crowded, dense, and things like that. But if the teleportation would be exist, then probably we might kind of like a live in very peaceful place, and when we have a job, we just kind of like simply go and things like that. All right, yeah. uh, Another thing is that if we need any kind of like a solely person, people, or if we miss somebody, instead of kind of like a video calling them or kind of like a things, that we just kind of like a meet in person. Probably this would be really good. Okay, yeah. um Another thing is that uh, probably, I don't know, yeah. Like if I try to create this reality regarding about the teleportation, it's something really good, something that is just really amazing in every possible way. But it's something really scary too. What if everyone has the power to kind of like a pop up at everywhere? Then we need a kind of like a something secure. Like imagine that um a kind of like a simply bank. Okay, a bank kind of like a simply the people who kind of like a collected money over there, it may be really insecure. Means like a so many people are kind of like a get inside that particular bank locker and might gonna steal money. So we need a particular kind of like a simply system that teleportation would not work in particular area. Okay, yeah. Or maybe kind of like a simply basically something disturb thing happened. What is that disturb thing? Like a stalking. Okay, yeah. Like a people might gonna stalk people very closely, something very not right. Okay, yeah. Without having any permission, which is also really wrong too. Another thing is that ki humans have mind to utilize new invention for wrong purposes, and that is true. When we have internet, we are utilizing internet for porn, still using. When we have AI, like yeah, a lot of stuff. Like basically just think that na ki a human mind, they're kind of like simply utilize invention for right purposes and wrong purposes too. Teleportation is a kind of like simply invention where people gonna utilize for right purposes but wrong purposes too. Okay, yeah. And there are so many wrong purposes. Another thing is that ki If somebody wanted to kill somebody, then probably the somebody would kill somebody, and that particular person went somewhere, another part of the world. It's very difficult to track down where is that particular person went. um Another thing is that probably is this thing that there is some sort of place that we shouldn't supposed to be arrive, or we shouldn't supposed to be went, or like, I don't know. Okay, yeah, there is might be kind of like a very stuff shit gonna happen. Like basically, I'm thinking as a kind of like a some Doctor Strange, this kind of like a some circle thing that kind of like go anywhere at all and stuff like that. So the positive impact looks really good, but negative impact would really dangerous too. Okay, yeah. Um, if we are try to live in that particular world, we might need a kind of like a something particular system that who is actually using this teleportation device and where they are kind of like a going from one place to another place. We need a kind of like a some catalog or data of the people, that how many people or which people kind of like a went from one place to another place, so that we track down. Also we need a kind of like a something a particular um, a, a, a boundary that here you cannot go inside, like a basically a bank locker room or any kind of like assembly place, that you shouldn't supposed to be teleport over there because it might not right. Okay, yeah. um yeah, probably. Okay, this is a kind of like a stuff that I would imagine, but still existing teleportation is a kind of like a little bit far away. Okay, yeah, and if we kind of um like invented this technology, we might not gonna we might not gonna use this technology for change our daily life, or kind of like simply utilizing for transport and things like that. If we have this technology, we might gonna utilize this technology for interstellar travel, because it is kind of like somewhat very essential, because in the interstellar travel the distance is immensely far away, really required kind of like a millions of years to reach at one place to another place. Having this technology, it would be kind of like a far much closer to the universe. We might kind of like a study multiple planets and multiple star system, multiple solar and multiple lot of stuff. Okay, yeah, we know about more about galaxy. We might kind of like suddenly arrive at edge of our universe. We might also we will have found that what is actually beyond our universe. We also found that kind of like a multiple dimensions, and we might also found that what is actually happened before the big bang too. So probably is this thing that the teleportation device is not meant for kind of like a utilizing for our day-to-day life. If a humankind kind of like invented this teleportation device, probably we're gonna use this technology for very more secure and very much kind of like simply for essential purposes. Interstellar travel would be kind of like simply really good, because when we have interstellar travel, then humanity would be kind of like simply thriving in all around the universe. Yeah, and probably this would be kind of like something really good, really great in every possible way. But still is this thing that if we kind of like utilize this technology, then probably is this thing people might gonna use this technology for wrong purposes too, like a interstellar mining. Like a people can kind of like simply go another planet and start doing mining without any kind of like understanding that because of the mining it kind of like simply affect their planets. Okay, yeah. Or maybe if we are kind of like simply going one planet to another planet, then probably is this thing that the value of the planet would be kind of like something very less to us. What do you mean by that? It means that na ki basically is this thing, our universe is actually filled with a lot of billions of planets and stars and things like that. Okay, yeah. So probably what we think that ki if we have this technology, then probably we think that this is the planet that no one's actually live over there. So we might kind of like simply go into that particular planet and extract some sort of material over there, and we kind of like sort of destroy that particular planet, because that planet is doesn't really required, because we have millions and trillions of planets and stuff like that. So basically this thing we might think like that we are the kind of like king of the universe, and we are kind of like somebody basically it's just like we can control everything, right? And this is very chaos thing happened. It kind of like a disturb in entire universal cycle. Let me tell you one thing: we are living in this particular universe where everything is kind of like a something set by kind of like a something particular, like what I'm trying to tell you is this thing: it's a kind of like a piece of puzzle. Imagine the universe is a piece of puzzle. We can't go one part of the piece of puzzle to the another part of a piece of puzzle, or we can't kind of like a destroy another piece of puzzle, because if we destroy another piece of puzzle, then probably that piece of puzzle is actually connected to the another piece of puzzle, and puzzle will not be kind of like completed. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing: if we are kind of like a solid person, we are utilizing this teleportation technique or teleportation invention for kind of like a simply go different part of universe and kind of like a simply extract the material from their planets and stars and things and that. Are we human or are we what? Like basically is this thing: we are kind of like a hunger for energies and things and that, and probably we just destroy the universe for our needs, probably. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki every species is kind of like a comes with its own life. A dinosaur or planets or stars or things or that. If we are kind of like a simply utilizing this technology, we might not gonna die. We always found a kind of like a, some certain solution to live in particular universe. Another thing is that key effect on time dilation. When we travel to the time, there is a okay, not time dilation. There is a kind of like a, somebody the one of the rule that we have in our universe. Nobody can kind of like a, somebody go faster than speed of light. So basically, is this thing that if I open up the door and I went to the another part of the universe, then probably I went faster than light. How? How? We went to the faster than light, and that is really chaos thing happened. Okay, because a universe is kind of like a letting you stop to not to go faster than light. There is a lot of stuff gonna happen, good thing, bad thing, stuff too. Yeah, we are human. We need to kind of like think about all the possible way. A humankind should supposed to be kind of like a something like I am a human, and I also wanted to be a humankind should supposed to be thrive in the universe. But probably is this thing that I also want it, but I also don't want it too. Okay, yeah. Because as I realize that na ki I think that we are the part of the big cycle. Entire civilization is actually die is because of some sort of reason. Like everything, and it has four purposes. Like basically, if the dinosaur didn't really die, we might not gonna survive. We might not gonna survive at this moment. The earth is not fertile for human. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing: if our civilization, if our human civilization is extinct, it kind of like simply extinct for right reason, probably. It like yeah, basically is this thing that kind of like a thinking that a human civilization will gonna die. It felt something really wrong and stuff like that. But that's a nature cycle. We have to be kind of like a die at somewhere. We cannot live for eternity. Eternity. But still, a human invention, human thought process, or the way that we think, or we are kind of like a very intelligent species. And yeah, we are kind of like a do something that change the planet universe, probably. Not really sure. But still, we have to think about all the possible way and how do we supposed to utilize that for right purposes. Teleportation is also one of them. Whatever, I should supposed to be end here. This is it. This is my opinion regarding about the teleportation. Thank you.